In this section, we're gonna be doing some color grading, which is also one of my favorite coolest things to do. So we had all the exposure. Let's just put them in one row so it's a bit more cleaner look. So there are several ways to color grade an image, and one of my favorite ways is by the custom curves. So if you go to custom curves here, you can go custom curves, this one. You can see that there's a curve here which is a straight line, but if you just go and click on like this, you can use it as a curve. How I use this curve as well, I'll just reset it. How I use this curve as well is that to change the exposure of an image. So sometimes if an image is too bright, I would just go in the middle, just bring it down. So the exposure of the entire image comes down. I will see if we have a good example, then I can show you at that as well. I'll show you later, don't worry about it. We were here, yeah. This is the master frame, let's go to color grading. So yeah, that's how I use custom curve for exposure, but we are now doing color grading. So let's check that out. So the first type of curve is hue versus hue. Then we have other curves, which is hue versus saturation, which I also use. And then there's another curve, which is hue versus luminance. All these three curves, they are a little bit different from each other. And I'm going to be showing you first hue versus hue and then other ones, because that's how it would make sense. So let's go to hue versus hue curve. So how do you know if it's selected? It is a little bit, highlighted here. And you can also see here, says hue versus hue. We usually use hue versus hue curves to change colors of specific things. For example, if we go here, if this curve is selected, if we go here on the sky, you see that you have this selector, the color picker. If I click on this, as soon as I click on this, there is a little bit of, there are 3 dots on hue versus hue curve. And if I just go to the middle dot and if I bring this up, then I can see that the color of the skies, or the color of all the blues in the image, that's changing. So all the blues which is within from this to this range, the color would be changing. And it would be changing to, first it would go a little bit teal, and then it would go a bit more towards greenish side, because I can see in the graph that that's how the color is here. And if I go the other way, then it becomes a little bit more bluish, which is not natural to our eyes. Then we go down, 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 and then it becomes a bit more pink and then purple and so on. All the blues. So what usually I do is that I just bring the blues a little bit up to have that classic teal and orange effect. So this is how I would just bring it here. And then if I go full screen, then I go before and after. So this is before. So there's a subtle change in blue. There is after, before, after. We change the color of the blues to a little bit of teal. And now say, for example, if you want to change the color of the yellows. So if we go here, we can select this building. So I'm just zooming in by scrolling the mouse. We select the yellows, then it is, the building is not really yellow, it's kind of reddish. So we can also select anything manually here. So if I go here, and if I want this entire thing, I would just reset the image. If I want this entire thing to look a little bit reddish, that would happen as well in the image. For example, if I go full screen, you can see that the bag was not of this color. It was kind of yellowish. This building had a shade of yellow. You can see, and now it became a bit more reddish. So yeah, hue versus hue curve you can use to change the color of the things. If we go here to the greens, and if I just select the greens, then that would select the green here. So I would just bring this here so that the changes are only being affected to these lines. The colors which belong from this spectrum to this spectrum is not really affected. But yeah, let's take care of the greens. So for the greens, I selected on this tree, so then that gave me a point here that color lies here. So if I bring the greens up, then it becomes a bit more, you can say a bit more, now it's looking pink, but I think the proper greens were not selected. So let's go here. And now the greens are, let's go before, this is after. So greens are a bit more warm. You can see here greens are a bit green. Now it becomes a bit more warm. But if I go the other way, then the greens become a bit more dark green. You can see before, this after, before and after. You can see the tree here, before and after. So yeah, it's really up to you how you want the colors to be. So if we go full screen and if we just go before and after, you can see that we brought a little bit of change in the image. So that's one way of doing color grading, is by just changing different colors. And maybe what I would also do is I would maybe go to another different clip and then show you, so that it's not a bit boring. Maybe let's go and do the color grade on this clip. So if we have this clip here, what are we going to be doing is we go to gallery and we're going to be copying and pasting the same settings. So the settings what we are pasting is just until the color correction part, not the color grading part. And I can see here, just by looking at the graph and also looking at the image is a little bit dark. So before any sort of color grading, you should be taking care of the color correction. You have to bring the image to the desired brightness or to the desired color, so that how you just have to bring the image to a place where how it looked with your own eyes when you were there. So I would go to exposure. What I would do is I would just reset the exposure and then see how the graph is. So I can see that everything is a bit dark. I can also see that the image is a little bit too much blue, the reds are a bit down. So let's take care of the white balance first. I would introduce some warmth just to bring everything in the same spectrum. This kind of looks good, maybe a little bit of pink as well. So let's go before and after. So you can see there was so much blue, the whites were looking also a bit bluish. And now we took care of the white balance. It looks pretty good. But of course, you can see that there's a lot of room here for the image to be bright. So we're going to be going to exposure. I would increase the gain here. I would increase the grain, just let it go up. We're going to be taking care of with the SDR. And then what we're going to be also be doing is maybe increase the gamma a little bit and then reduce the lift, so we have that contrast in the image. If you go before and after, you can see how much change we have made in this image by just one little node. And then if we go to the HDR panel, we go to HDR here, I would reduce the highlight a little bit more so that these clouds are not falling apart. So this was before, this is after. You can see that all the texture on the buildings, we can see it now. Okay, so that's good. I love the saturation, which is really nice. The look. So the look, there's no change in the graph here. So if you want to copy the same settings of the look, what you can do, you go to this image, you just press Command C, Control C, you come back to our image here and then just go Command V or Control V, and then the same look would be on this image. But I want the color of this blue to be teal as well. But this blue kind of lies a little bit this side. So I would also increase this, not too much, so that we are kind of changing the color of the entire blues, not just one specific blues. And I can also see that the building here, it was yellow, it became a bit pink. So we're gonna be reducing that a little bit. And I'm not sure about the greens. Let's just try the green. Let's just click it. So it is somewhere here. So let's just click the greens to be a bit more warm. So you can see it's a little bit warm. But that's a look. Like we did some changes and now we have this look. If we go full screen, this was before, this is after. Before, a really subtle change. Yeah. Now what we want to do, because I want to give a summer vibe to this image, what we're going to be doing is, now we just select the flag here, and we're going to introduce some warmth in the image. So what we're going to be doing now is, because it's a summer vibe, I want to get it, make it look a bit more warm. What we're going to be doing is we go to HDR, you go to temperature, and you make it a little bit warm. So the warmth what would come in the image would be really, really subtle. So I'm going above, say, 2000. Let's go here and let's go full screen. Let's go before and after. This is before, this is after. So I can also see that all the blues are gone. So we don't want that. What we can do now is that we go to color wheels and we can increase the gain. So how we always increase the gain was for the brightness of the image by going here. But now you can also just change the color of all the brighter areas in the image by moving this little dot in different spectrum. So that's what we're going to be doing now. So we go to gain and we go a little bit this side, so the image becomes a little bit warm. So if you really zoom in here, you can see that the center of the gain has shifted a little bit. And then gamma as well, because gammas are the midtones. And now if we go before and after, now you would see a really nice and warm image. Before and after, before and after. So with these two nodes, we did color grading. So we go F, we go before and after. So you see how nice and warm the image looks. But if you wanted to make it a little bit colder, you can also just reset it and bring it down here. So it looks a little bit colder, gain and gamma. So now if you go before and after. But obviously I just to go Control Z, I think this looks really nice on this image. What we're gonna be doing is if I just put it as warm, and maybe let's copy this setting to the previous image. So Command C or Control C, we go to clips, we go here, and I would make another node, Option S or Alt S, and let's paste it here. I think it's looking really good. You see this click, it looks really good. We go full screen, before and after. I think it fits really nice with the vibe. So if we go before and after for the entire image, this was before, this is after. So the first section we did the color correction, second section we did color grading. But remember I told you that there are many ways to color grade an image. Let me show you another way. So this was color grading using the custom curves, you know, what we did here. But let me show you another way in the next chapter.